All right, everyone. Good evening, and welcome back to the We Shall Not Sleep podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this very late evening. Sorry this is getting out so late. Been busy here, and I wanted to get this out still here before it reaches midnight so we can still call it Happy Wednesday. Tomorrow's Friday Eve for the working world, and I'm looking forward, man, to this weekend. I hope you guys have some good plans. I know that we have some family traveling, got some big plans this weekend with some friends. So I just pray for safe travels for a lot of people and for you guys out there. I know we're kind of in the summer period here, halfway through the summer for a lot of kids as they go back at the end of August here to school, which is nuts because it feels like you just got out of school and now you're starting up with back to school stuff, which is just insane. But I don't know about you, but sometimes I still have dreams where I'm back in high school again. Just the way it works out from time to time. But in any case, I just want to say good evening to you guys. I wanted to share something. I titled this podcast "Joy in the Morning" because it's been remarkable. I was on a bike ride last night with my dad. My dad and I try to go for a bike ride at least once a week, and it's just as a father son thing. And it's funny because we basically are yelling at each other, making each other laugh the entire time. And my dad has a lot of wisdom and perspective to share. And he was thinking, Michael, you've gone through a lot the last few years, and said, look, this last few weeks you've been able to do a lot of things with some good people. And in fact, that's exactly what I did tonight before recording this podcast. I was giving a couple of those people a call, telling them how much I appreciate them. You see, in August of 2020, a gentleman by the name of Eric Moore, who's been on this podcast, friend, a longtime friend of my family's, and he was the head of the board at a little community church in North Adams, where I'm a pastor at. He asked me to come down and just speak for a couple weekends. First weekend was to just observe, and then the following two was to speak and just kind of fill in as a pulpit supply. And then after that, they kept inviting me back, and then they eventually gave me a part-time contract and then a full-time contract, to which I've renewed every year. Been very, very grateful to do so. I love that church. I love the area. And during this time, there were some things that I will not get into, but I had some turnover in some friendships, longtime friendships. And I've talked about that pain in the past. And I was just telling some of my friends this week, including Eric, that, I said, I don't know if I'll ever cease to be saddened by those, apart from reconciliation, of course. But forgiveness has taken place. And it's scar tissue for sure because it still hurts, but I'm not bitter, I'm not angry anymore. But it was still a loss, and I had a period of time where I lost uh, three really good friends. Another friend moved away. I experienced COVID. My parents experienced COVID. My mom, we almost lost my mom. Obviously, COVID was still happening. I switched churches to pastor. All this stuff was going on, and over the last a couple of weeks, I've been able to kind of quote unquote let my hair down a little bit. So able to hang out with a couple families that are near and dear to me and just have pure unadulterated fun. Just pure fun. I don't know how else to describe it. I was over at a lake, being on a tube, or watching some kids tube and get thrown off because they were mocking their father, and their father drove the boat really hard and threw them off the off the tube. It was a lot of fun. Playing cards, playing golf, going on a moped. Never been on a moped before. Going for runs, working out. Trying to stay disciplined there. Add some more to my spiritual life, and I've just had a lot of joy. And when you're going through it, it's hard. It's easy to say, "Hey, joy comes in the morning," and there's that. It's the age old phrase of, are you going to be able to make it through the night because it's it's so difficult sometimes, and so easy to say, well, yeah, God will have a lot of stuff for you. You just need to hold hang in there. Well, there's some people that they don't get that reward. They're promised that in heaven. They experience suffering, and they're not relieved from that suffering. here on earth. They get that in the afterlife and in heaven in the glory and the kingdom of God. And so for me to have been given the opportunity to experience this joy is something that I'm incredibly grateful for to God, and it's something that I'll never forget. The contrast between a few years, and we've buried a lot of people. It's up almost 12 people that we've lost since September of 2020 in my church, and that's been hard. And to be able to go through that, and told you 7 months ago, that getting cast in that play, just I don't know how else to describe it. This last oh I don't know, since like October November of last year has been incredible, and that's not guaranteed. So the message here tonight is for two groups of people: those who are experiencing joy right now, and those who aren't. And I want to be realistic. It's not guaranteed in a relationship with the Lord that you're one going to get exactly what you want, and when you want it. We are guaranteed that deliverance. It's just it's not always again the way that we would like it, and it doesn't always happen on our timeline here on earth. Um, but I know that there's a few things out there, and I've said it before, but if you're God, keep His commandments. God diligently, re- or God rewards those who diligently wait on Him, and if you take delight in the Lord, He will give you the desires of your heart. So it's basically, if you're God, take delight and wait on Him. And He knows. I mean, we know this because of the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew. He says, look at the birds of the air. For example, God takes care of them. He's going to take care of all your basic needs. And if you're doing all those other things, fearing Him, taking delight in Him, and you're demonstrating your willingness to wait on Him, He'll make your path straight. But it doesn't always mean like what we want it to. Of course, like I'm not saying it's going to lead to this life of prosperity. It might not be God's calling for your life, but you'll have peace and you'll have joy. And sometimes it we are called to a different season of life. I believe we are called to it. It's not just like, oh, I've been feeling down the last few months and I feel as God's distant. Well, that's where you need to lean in. What is this supposed to teach you? What is the lesson? Not maybe for your benefit, but for the benefit of others. See, oftentimes try to either make ourselves a victim to try to make it about us, to look how virtuous we are, or we just have to think like we're supposed to take something away. Well, what if we're supposed to do this to be able to help others? What if we're supposed to be able to go through this as an example for other people, or so that we may better empathize, and we may give somebody advice, a decade from now, because have walked in their shoes, and we can help give some perspective. Oswald Chambers, famous theologian, says, if God has given you a bitter cup, do not try to make it sweet. If He's given you a sweet cup, do not try to make it bitter. Just take things as they come. And it's understanding that those ebbs and flows in life, God permits it all. And if we are so focused on ourselves, saying, oh, woe is me, we certainly can miss what's directly in front of us, because God's always trying to teach us something, grow us, stretch us if we allow Him. There's never going to be a point where we arrive at like level 100 of character building and then we're all set and we just stop. Like that's not the way it works in Christendom. And yet at the same time, God also allows those moments of just pure joy. And I'm going to live in that right now. And I got a lot going on. It's been a rough last couple of years, but man, this last year has been amazing. And you guys have been here for it. I'm sure you guys remember some of the stuff I've talked about. And I just want to thank you, because this podcast has been an outlet for a lot of it. It's been very therapeutic. And I hope and I pray that this has been beneficial. And trust me, we still have some work to do with some of our guests, but I can't wait to get back to some of these long form conversations. Thank you so much for all the new listeners. I hope this is pointing you to God. I that's what I want. I mean, Jesus, not just God. I don't want to be like some deist who just talks about God in the ethereal sense. I'm talking about Jesus Christ who died for us, who sent his Holy Spirit to be with us so that we may be in continuous relationship with him, in fullness of relationship at that as well. So I hope this is encouraging. Guys, just hang in there. It ultimately is going to be okay. It might not work out the way you want it, but that's also okay. And if you're struggling with that, just ask God. He rewards those who seek him, take delight in him, and fear him. Continue to keep that grind going. Do not forsake the calling God has given you. If you have a bitter cup right now, don't try to make it sweet. If you have a sweet cup, don't try to make it bitter. Do not play the, oh, well, this isn't going to last forever. Just live in the moment, enjoy it. Tomorrow's not guaranteed anyway. We're told not to worry about it, so don't worry about it. Just live now in the present. Thank you guys for bearing with me. May God bless you. May God keep you.